A poor man saved every penny for 20 years and used all that money to build a house for his family. Finally, his house was built and ready. After that, an auspicious date was chosen to shift in his new house with his family. But just 2 days before that day, an earthquake occurred and his house was completely destroyed. When poor man got the news, he went to market and bought sweet before going to place where his house was built. Man reached the place where many people were gathered and expressed their concern for him because he lost his house before he could even got to live there. Some people tried to console him, but man took out sweets and started distributing them to everyone. Everyone who was present there was surprised to see this. One of his friends said, "Have you gone mad? Your newly built house has collapsed. Your lifetime earnings have been wasted, and here you are happily distributing sweets." Poor man smiled and said, "You are only seeing the negative side of this incident. Therefore, you are not able to see the positive side. It's good that house collapsed today only. What if it had collapsed after 2 days? When I was going to start living in this house with my family, if it had collapsed, then my wife and children all could have been killed. How big of a loss would have happened then? So whatever happened, happened for good only." Moral of the story: there are many times when we feel like we lost everything, but at that time, if we keep a positive outlook toward difficult situation, then we can deal with that situation calmly and better. A wealthy father and his son went shopping in an expensive shopping mall. On their way back to their car, a poor boy approached them. He cried, "Please help me, sir. I don't have any more clothes to wear." The rich father threw a glance at the poor boy and felt compassion for him. His clothes were ripped and shredded. "How old are you, little boy?" he asked him. "I'm 10, sir," he responded. Then the rich father said, "Well, my son is 10 too, and I presume that his new clothes would fit you." The father turned to his posh-looking son. "Jeff, don't you think it would be generous of you to spare some of your new clothes we have bought? We could still come shopping tomorrow." The boy whispered, "It's fine, Dad." The rich father then opened their shopping bag and took out few clothes which he handed to the poor boy. His face lit up in excitement. The father then inquired, "May I know where you live?" The poor boy replied, "I live under the bridge right down the street." He expressed deep gratitude and watched the father and his son as they walked into their car and drove away. 3 months later, the rich father drove down the street, looking for the poor boy under the bridge. When he found him, he took him to the car and brought out boxes of clothes, shoes, bags, and toys. He said, "They're my son's belongings, but I'm giving them all to you now." The poor boy was surprised and couldn't stop crying. He said, "But how about your son? Wouldn't he need these any longer?" The rich father uttered, "No, because he is in heaven now. My sweet little boy died some weeks ago of terminal cancer. He had lived with cancer for 3 years, and we had known all along that he was going to die. So it was emotionally very difficult to watch him enter the final days of life. Do you know that on his deathbed, Jeff said to me, 'Daddy, when I'm finally gone, could you give all my belongings to the poor boy we met outside the mall? The boy who has nothing, wears rags, and sleeps under the bridge.'" The father paused for a moment with tears in his eyes. He concluded, "You may be poor, but you have no idea how blessed you are to have life, something that money can't buy. I could have bought 100 lives for my son if it was possible, but no. You may have envied my son's expensive lifestyle, but I'm sure you didn't know about all his struggles and health challenges. That's how life is. We often compare our lives to others, forgetting that life doesn't come with perfection, reason why everyone goes through difficult times. So, instead of envying others, We should focus on watering our own grass and building our own path. For as long as there is life, hope follows. An old man meets a young man who asks, "Do you remember me?" And the old man says, "No." Then the young man tells him he was his student. And the teacher asks, "What do you do? What do you do in life?" The young man answers, "Well, I became a teacher." "How good? Like me?" asks the old man. "Well, yes. In fact, I became a teacher because you inspired me to be like you." The old man, curious, asks the young man at what time he decided to become a teacher, and the young man tells him the following story. "One day, a friend of mine, also a student, came in with a nice new watch, and I decided I wanted it. I stole it. I took it out of his pocket. Shortly after, my friend noticed that his watch was missing and immediately complained to our teacher, 'Who was you?' Then you addressed the class saying, 'This student's watch was stolen during classes today. Whoever stole it, please return it.' I didn't give it back because I didn't want to. You closed the door and told us all to stand up and form a circle. You were going to search our pockets one by one until the watch was found. However, you told us to close our eyes, because you would only look for his watch if we all had our eyes closed. We did as instructed. You went from pocket to pocket, and when you went through my pocket, you found the watch and took it. You kept searching everyone's pockets, and when you were done, you said, 'Open your eyes, we have the watch.' You didn't tell on me, and you never mentioned the episode. You never said who stole the watch either. That day, you saved my dignity forever. It was the most shameful day of my life. But this is also the day I decided not to become a thief or a bad person. You never said anything, nor did you even scold me or take me aside to give me a moral lesson. I received your message clearly. Thanks to you, I understood what a real educator needs to do. Do you remember this episode, Professor?" The old professor answered, "Yes. I remember the situation with the stolen watch, which I was looking for in everyone's pocket. I didn't remember you, because I also closed my eyes while looking." The moral of the story is, true teaching is about understanding, empathy, and respect. To correct without humiliating shows that shaping good character is just as important as imparting knowledge. A beer company was hiring a taster, someone to taste the beers before selling out. A dirty, rough-looking man walked into the manager's office asking to be employed. The manager tried to figure out how he could drive this man away but couldn't come up with an idea. So he decided to give the man a trial. He ordered his secretary to give the man a glass of wine. He took a sip and said, "It's red wine, a muscat, 3 years old, grown on a north slope, matured in steel containers." "That's correct," the manager exclaimed. "Well, give him another one, let's see." So he was given. He took a sip again and said, "It's red wine, Cabernet, 8 years old, southwestern slope, oak barrels." "Incredible," said the manager. Now the manager went closer to the secretary and whispered to her, saying, "Go get some of your urine in a cup. Let's see if he will get that." So the man was given the cup of urine. He took a sip, turned to the manager and said, "Female urine, 26 years old, 2 weeks pregnant, and if I'm not given this job, sir, I will tell your wife who is responsible for the pregnancy. Moral of the story is, never judge people based on appearances, as skills and talents can be found where least expected. It emphasizes the importance of giving everyone a fair chance." A son and his father were walking on the mountains. Suddenly, his son falls, hurts himself, and screams out in pain. To his surprise, he hears the voice repeating, "Somewhere in the mountain." Curious, he yells, "Who are you?" He receives the answer, "Who are you?" Angered at the response, he screams, "Coward!" He receives the answer, "Coward!" He looks to his father and asks, "What's going on?" The father smiles and says, "My son, pay attention." And then he screams to the mountain, "I admire you." The voice answers, "I admire you." Again, the man screams, "You are a champion." The voice answers, "You are a champion." The boy is surprised, but does not understand. Then the father explains, "People call this echo, but really this is life. It gives you back everything you say or do. Our life is simply a reflection of our actions. If you want more love in the world, create more love in your heart. Moral of the story: if you want more competence in your team, improve your competence. This relationship applies to everything, in all aspects of life. Life will give you back everything you have given to it. A teenage boy from the village moved to the city for a job to support his family. He applied for a job in a big firm. After some days, he went to attend the interview. He successfully cleared all the tests. The hiring manager said, "You are hired. Give me all your details for further processing. Also, make sure that your bike is in good condition, as you have to do a lot of traveling to meet the customers." The boy replied, "Sir, but I don't have a bike with me." The hiring manager said, "Without a bike, you will not get this job. You can leave now." The boy left the place thinking about what to do next. He had little money with him that could feed him only for the next few days, but he does not want to return to his village without a job. He was confident in getting a job. While he was thinking, he came across a big vegetable market. Then an idea sparkled. He decided to buy vegetables from the market with the available money, then went to sell those vegetables door to door by walk. By the end of the evening, he sold all those vegetables and had a good profit. He gained confidence that he could earn from this. From then, on the morning, he will go to the market to buy fresh vegetables and sell them door to door till he finishes his stock. He continued his hard work every day, and within years, he developed his business. Soon, he became one of the biggest food chain retailers. After some years, one of his new friends visited his big house where cars were in his garage. Seeing this, his friend asked, "You have a good collection of cars. Do you have any bike collections?" The man replied, "I never bought any bike for myself." In a surprise, his friend asked, "Why did you not buy a bike?" The man said, "If I had a bike with me, I wouldn't have had these cars." Moral of the story: if we wanted something and never got it, we should never lose our hope in that. We should continue our hard work, because we do not know what destiny has in store. A young girl went to school where she wasn't well known. For 3 weeks, she arrived late, and each time the teacher punished her. In the 4th week, she didn't attend school at all, and many thought she had given up on school due to the daily punishments. However, the young girl returned in the 5th week, and this time she arrived earlier than everyone else. When the teacher entered the class, the young girl was punished for not attending school the previous week. But the teacher also kindly commended her for coming early that day, stating that the punishments had finally yielded some results. Then, the young girl asked if she could say something, and the teacher gave her permission. She began, "I was raised by a single mother without any siblings. 5 weeks ago, my mother fell ill and was hospitalized. During those 3 weeks when I arrived late, I had to prepare something for her every morning and pass by the hospital to deliver it. Unfortunately, my mother passed away last week, and that's why I didn't come to school. We buried her last Friday. Today I arrived early because I no longer had to prepare anything or visit the hospital. With her gone, I will always be here early." As she sat down, no one in the whole class could hold back their tears, including the teacher. Moral of the story: how often do we judge others for things we know nothing about? We ask questions like, "Why aren't you getting married? Why don't you have kids?" And so on. Do we attempt to understand their situations, or do we simply judge based on surface scenarios? Don't assume you know what others are going through or that people are progressing at the same pace as you. Life is far more complex than that. Be kind always, and be nice to others. If you find value in this content, please like, share, and follow.